All right, welcome Ultimate Frisbee fans. We're so excited for this game today. We're here in Salt Lake City. It is sunny, it is hot. We're here to watch Utah Wild take on Seattle Tempest. I'm Quincy McKean, and I'm here commentating with
Leah Smith. We're super excited for this game. This is going to be the first of two matchups that the Wild and Seattle are going to play against each other. Like Quincy said, it's hot out. It's one of the hottest days in Salt Lake in a while. I think it feels probably 80 degrees on the turf, which I think is going to be a big adjustment for both teams. There's also a bit of a crosswind, I think, coming from, I would say, the top of your screen to the bottom of your screen. We'll see how that impacts play as well. But yeah, Seattle with the reigning champions of this league, but they're coming off a 0-2 loss. They lost to San Diego in a close game and got trounced by Bay Area Falcons in their last game. Quincy, do you have any ideas on how they could potentially make adjustments or what we can expect to see?
I mean, I'm sure that they're just so fired up and so wanting this win. So I expect to see lots of intensity, lots of big Ds, lots of big throws from Jezierski and Rolling. Those are some big throwers that they've got.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. So Cassie Wong is in for her first game of the Tempest season. She was a big playmaker for the team last year, and I want to flag that they still have Sam Rodenberg and Sadie Jezierski, who have recently made Team USA. Wild has one of their own. Kendra Miller is on Team USA, so we got some big players out there. I may or may not have gotten breakfast with a Tempest player this morning, and she let it slip that she's on D-line. So there's a chance that Seattle could be diverting from their traditional 3-line system just to try and make up for those 2 losses. So I think that's something we really want to look for to see how they've adjusted and if they've finally moved away from those 3 even-line systems to make sure that they can win this game.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out to see if we notice a consistent O-line coming out and a consistent D-line.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle is still going to be good. Seattle Ultimate is famous for their playing, and so I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Definitely not.
And then on the Wild, we have some players to watch. The players are currently lining up right now, which is why you can't see them, but they're lining up for their walkout. I talked to the Wild coaches before this game. I talked to David Shum, and he said that we need to look out for really athletic plays. He specifically called out the D-line, saying that they're pretty fresh and new to the league, still ready to cut their teeth. They have Abby Davis, who's a former USA player who also played in sectionals earlier today for BYU. And I mean,
long day for her.
Long day for her. Yeah, she's stronger than me. And then they also talked about some players to watch. So we have Sarah Judd. This is going to be her first game with the Wild. She goes by SJ. We might use that a little bit throughout this game. But she's a former Brute Squad, and she made Portland Rising in 2020. And so I'm interested to see how she folds into this team, what line they're going to have her on, and what role they're going to have her play, because I know she can be pretty universal.
Yeah, and this is her. She wasn't at the first 2 games.
Yes.
So this is her first game with the Wild, so it'll be super fun to watch her today.
Yeah, and then some other Wild players to watch. Mac Perquette, she's on the Wild O-line. She's someone who's consistently creating space for people, as well as a pretty good scorer. One of my favorite facts about Perquette is that she actually was 4th last year in the Wild in blocks, even though she was on the O-line. Wow. We had Molly Robbins, we had Shea Wallen, we had Carly Atwell, and then we had Mac Perquette on that O-line.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's something we should look forward to. And then we also want to call out number 31, Jenny Leducko. She has played in the previous 2 games, I believe. But she's making the shift over to O-line today, I think, to make up for Lily Terpstra not being in for the Wild. Lily is at sectionals and playing with the University of Utah. So it's going to be an exciting matchup. I know in the last 2 years, Wild has played pretty close to Seattle but haven't been able to seal it out. Looks like we might be ready for those opening ceremonies. And so we're going to watch some of these players come on out.
Please give a warm Salt Lake City welcome to our visiting team.
Yeah, while these players are coming out, let's go over some of the rules that are different than the traditional USAU or UFA rules. I think one of the biggest changes, especially from USAU play, is that WUL uses a 7-second stall. And this is player counted, which is different than the UFA. This means that, honestly, they're counting for 4 to 5 seconds max. If it's a slow count, it's still going to be probably 5 or 6 seconds. Another interesting rule change is that on timeouts, coaches can sub out lines. So they can choose to sub out one player. They can choose to sub out all 7 players. So you can see some of those tactical plays rather than in more traditional Ultimate. You kind of get it as a way to rest your line or reset what you're doing. You can do a full change out.
And we'll definitely see WUL do that today. They often will swap out the O or the D depending on what's happening on the field.
Yes, and then we have 12-minute quarters. At the each quarter is 12 minutes, and then for the last 2 minutes, there's a clock stoppage on every time. Like the disc is stopped, or there's a call made. And then it's also for all 4 quarters. It is last possession. So if the clock runs out, but a team still has the disc, they get to play it through until there is a turnover or a score. So I think that builds a lot of tension in the game. I'm personally a really big fan rather than those jump balls.
Oh, definitely.
So that's been interesting in the past. I know Wild has had a few turnovers in the last 5 seconds of each quarter. So I know they're working on time management. So you get a look at our Seattle team out there. Let's go over some of the rosters. Quincy, do you want to read them off?
Yeah, so today on the Seattle roster, we have Ikran Elmi. We have number 1, Jess Spaulding. Number 9, Emily Decker. 11, Bert Cherry. 12, we have Caitlin Rowling. 13, Jessica Crawley. 14 is Sam Rodenberg. 17, Cassie Wong. 18, Nada Tremonte. 19 is Alexa Romerson. 22, Alexa Kirkland. 24, we have Cheryl Sue. 25 is Kat Chung. 26, we have Ada Wright. 31, we have Steph Lim. 32, Lauren Meyer. 34, Kate Lanier. 49, Bridget Whippler. 72, Hannah DeVault. 77, Sadie Jazerski, and 81, Ye-Sun Lee, and 16, Waringa.
Yeah, so that's a good Seattle squad. I would say there's one thing about the Seattle, I would say, storyline this season is that they had a lot of turnover in their previous championship-winning rosters. So they're missing some key players, but I mean, I want to emphasize the return of Ikran Elmi, Sam Rodenberg, Cassie Wong, Alexa Kirkland, Steph Lim. They still have a good core of people, so I'm interested to see if they choose to kind of take those returners and put them more on an O-line if they choose not to do the 3 traditional lines. But yeah, I can go ahead and read the Wild roster. We have number 0, Vesper Aragon. Number 1, Mac Perquette. Number 2, Brooke Stanislawski. Number 3, Amy Norris. Number 5, Ellie Shortall. Number 6, Mackenzie Finnegan. Number 7, Kate Moulton. Happy birthday, Kate. Number 8, Sarah Judd. Number 9, Cass Williams. Number 11, Addie Thompson. Number 12, Carrie Shelkey. Number 13, Dee Bozone. Number 14, Abby Davis. Number 16, Shayla Wallen. Number 22, Kira Harujnikova. Number 23, Justine Cherwink. Number 24, Sarah Stoller. Number 31, Jenny Ledutka. Number 34, Kendra Miller. Number 48, Kat Songer. And number 58, Paige Kircher. So we have, they're walking up to do the flip right now. We have Wild captains Kendra Miller and Paige Kircher. They also have Chrissy Mariyama, who's number 10 as a captain, but she is currently out due to an ACL tear. And it looks like Seattle Tempest has 5 captains. Let's see, we have Steph Lim. Let's see, number 24, Cheryl Sue. Number 77, Sadie Jazerski. And I'm going to be honest to everybody.
We'll try to find the other ones.
The sun is in our eyes, and it's going to get worse over this game. So if we do miss calls, it is because I'm getting blinded. So I appreciate everyone's patience with this game. And Quincy and I both have our sunglasses on, and we're ready to do some work.
Yeah.
All right, the coin flip goes up. Let's see. It looks like Seattle gets to choose.
Yep.
All right, we're waiting for the call up to let us know who won the flip and who's starting on offense and defense. It looks like Wild is receiving. Oh, I lied. Seattle won the coin toss, and they are starting on offense.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll get our first look at the Wild D-line. I'm trying to think of other things. I was talking to the Seattle coaches before this, and I asked them what we should look out for, or if they had anything that they wanted to call out in this game, and they said, we're pretty bad at this. I think you should just watch the game. And I said, that's fair. That's fair feedback.
We'll just have to wait and see.
They had a very nice, gentle tone. We had a great conversation. But yeah, we were able to talk a little bit about how it was Cassie's first game and Sam and Sadie making the Worlds team. So yeah, Seattle's going to be good, and I'm interested to see on that Wild D line. It looks like the Wild D line is getting out there. Quincy, do you want to read that off to us?
Yeah, we've got Vespra Aragon out there. We've got Kenzie Finnegan. Looks like Ellie Shortall. Is that Kate Moulton tying her shoe, I want to say. Dee Bozone's out there. Abby Davis. And Kendra's either coming out to join them or coming out to pump them up.
Based on the numbers, it looks like Kendra's out there.
Yeah, there she is.
So we have the Seattle O-line. Yet again, their numbers are pretty hard to read, and I will get better at this over the rest of the game. But we have number 25, Kat Chung, and it looks like Cheryl Sue. Yeah,
your eyes are better than mine.
I'm so sorry to everyone out there. We really are trying our best. But yeah, with the small numbers, we'll call it out as they run down for the poll. But Seattle is known for a split stack play that they run, so I think they're going to continue to do that. They've seen success in that even in other games where they've had intense defensive pressure, especially under Bay Area, but sometimes it felt like they were beating themselves with some drops, so with some misthrows and miscues.
Looks like Aragon's going to take our poll for us. Here she goes, and we're off.
Discraft discs are the official disc of the Western Ultimate League.
Aragon with a beautiful pole, picking up onto the Seattle side. Oh, and a huge D by D. That is Dee Bozone. She earns her name.
Dee did something similar in the Wild's first game.
Oh, and a D right back. Yeah, she did. She came out firing in that first game, and she had a huge layout right on that first point.
And that was Lanier with the D on Seattle.
Seattle picks it up, and then we're now to number 14. Rodenberg. Oh, and taken out by Aragon. She throws it to Kenzie Finnegan. Finnegan to Bozone. Bozone's looking. Nice shot to Shortall. Shortall with a big throw up to Abby Davis. So close. Davis hits the turf trying to catch that one. So close.
And that was tight defense from number 49, Bridget Whipfler.
Great defense on her side.
Yeah, I think Davis just had too much time to think and had a person on her back. Looks like Sue's picking it up again for Seattle.
We have a swing across. Back to 22. Kirkland. Kirkland up to, not sure who that was, but she threw it up to Rodenberg. Rodenberg with a huge shot deep, and Whipfler gets there. But nobody's down field for her. They're catching up. Nice little pass in. Oh, not in yet.
Not quite in the end zone.
And back to Whipfler. Wow. She worked hard in that point and got that D and got that score for them.
Yeah, and I know Seattle was running that split stack offense, so that was able to give Whipfler a lot of space to run onto. Well, it kept the center of the field pretty open for the rest of the team, allowing for that larger huck. I think Wild was a little too focused on making sure that center wasn't as accessible, leaving Whipfler deep.
Leaving those sides, yeah. But that D-line came out firing. They had a couple shots there.
Yeah, they were able to generate some turns, and I think they had some good looks. It's just really that completion.
They're going to get there.
All right, and out on that O-line, we have number 2 for the Wild, Brooke Stanislawski, Kat Songer, who's 48. Number 1, I think that's Mac Burkett. Yep. Number 58, Paige Kircher. I believe number 3, Amy Norris. And, number 31, Jenny Leducco. And number 24, Sarah Stoller. Nice. All right, and then let's see that D-line for Seattle is Sadie Jazerski, Bert Cherry, number 17, Cassie Wong, Caitlin Rolling. And take it away, Quincy.
Okay, so Brooks got it on the side. She's looking. Big shot up to Stoller. Stoller's got it. She dishes it over to Perkett. Perkett back to Stoller. Stoller over to
around
Is that
to
Kircher?
Kircher.
Kircher up to
looking for
Brooke.
Stanislawski, knocking on the end
Stanislawski.
zone line
She's
here.
looking. She's looking. Max
Upline cut
working
cut
for
off
her.
by Seattle. Instead, they'll
Big
look
cross
around.
swing over
Cody
to,
Dick
close to
ripped
Amy Norris,
away
but
by Seattle
stolen by
there. Looks like
Seattle.
there may have been
That was a
call
great D by
And there's a
Wong.
call down there.
On the field for
Oh,
Was it?
stall called.
Stall called, so it will return to where the stall happened.
Still Seattle disc, just with a different place. But it looks like the players will
Yeah,
swap
let's
it
see if
over
it's
here.
contested or not. As I said earlier, this is player counted. And when you're out there down on the field, the energy is so intense that people tend to naturally count faster.
Totally.
Yeah, even when it's a stall 10 out there, I am just like, oh, it's probably
Looks like
7
the
seconds.
ruling
So,
may be, or at least,
They're
There's
still
the call.
talking. The observers are.
looks like the ruling maybe will come back to Seattle, but the call will have stopped play, so the continuation will not happen. So, still
Okay,
Alright.
so they're letting one continuation, and Cassie Wong will take it.
I'm not sure. It looks like there was no pre-stall on that.
And it is now dumping back to
Big
Kircher,
throw
who
down
immediately
to. Oh,
Kircher
nice
in the
grab.
area, unable to reel it in. Another shot blocked off.
Nice grab by
There.
Steph Lim. She threw it
Wild.
over to Rolling.
Continuation.
Rolling threw it over to number
Swings.
9, Decker. Decker back to Rolling.
Emily Decker will find Caitlin Rowland.
Wow, with a
who
big
shoots
throw
it
looking to
Yeah.
Wong.
Float,
Oh, really?
but just
Back in
long
that
enough.
corner.
Cassie Wong gets
Looks
the
like-
bookend for
oh.
Seattle
Oh,
Tempest,
there's some
making it
discussion
2-0.
maybe. Oh,
It's
yep,
in.
it's called in.
Wow, right on that edge line.
Right on the edge. Towed it in.
Yeah, I think Seattle was really able to make the most of that turn. They moved the disc really quickly, and while the Wild defense was there, I don't think they were making as large of an impact as they wanted to.
Yeah. And they'll have another shot here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the Wild's red zone efficiency and how that changes, especially the wind has calmed down a little bit, but it looks like it's still down on the field. I don't think you can see the tents right now, but normally that's a pretty good indication of what the wind is looking like.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't look too windy out there, which I wonder if that's all of their games and many of their practices have been quite windy, so I wonder if that's messing with them a little.
And it looks like Rolling's still out there for Seattle, and it looks like we have Rolling, Elmi, Crowley, Slim, Steph Lim, and oh gosh, and maybe Cassie Wong is still out there. Yeah, Cassie Wong is still out there, so it looks like they're keeping some of the same people. which
Huge
is-
pull there. Yeah, that is interesting, keeping some of those same.
And it's out of bounds.
Ledeco's going to pick it up and bring it to the center. Wild is setting up in a vertical stack there in the middle of the field.
Wild working out of a vertical stack. This is in.
Big cut from Kircher.
Nice
Ledeco
set
over
play
to
to
Perquette.
Perquette
Perquette's
and-
looking for her reset. She swings it over to Songer.
Finds
Songer upline to
Songer to Williams.
Cassie Williams.
Williams inside to a wide
Williams
open
up to Kircher.
Kircher looking downfield.
Oh, close.
Flicked around
Rescued by
Stanislawski.
Stanislavski. She's
Who will
looking
shoot
up
for the end
line.
zone.
Oh, nice.
Just out of the
Wow.
reach of the defense.
Stanislavski to
Finds
Perquette.
in the
Nice
end zone.
throw.
Big
But Seattle
pull.
was right there. That was a close one.
Just outside
Yeah, I think
of
Seattle
the
generated a
ground.
lot of pressure, and Wild was
Great
tending to cut more from the front of the stack, especially once the disc got swung from Kircher back to the center of the field, which I think created a lot of chaos, as well as when Ledeco and Stanislavski cut to the same area. And they were able to figure it out and
Yeah.
beat each other.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how their stack discipline changes throughout the rest of the game.
They can clean up a little bit.
And then if we take a look at the O-line out there for Seattle, or at least the next line, looks like Rodenberg's back out there, and 22, Alexa Kirkland, who's pretty stalwart out there. We have 34, Lanier. And if I mispronounce any names, I promise it's because they just didn't write the pronunciation on our form. We have Wallen with the pull.
Wild's coming down fast on defense. Seattle centers it to the middle, over to number 34. Lanier over to. Tell you once I can see.
Oh,
Oh, and a turn
that
there.
was Lauren Meyer with the turn.
Miller's picking up. She's looking to Shortall in the middle. Shortall's going up line. Nice reset over to
To Wallen.
Wallen up to D. D back to Wallen. Oh, nice save.
Game.
Miller keeps that one alive. Looking for a reset. Finds Shelke. Shelke back up to Miller.
Finds it. Just 2 yards outside the end zone now.
Oh, she's looking for Abby Davis, and she finds her. Nice.
I believe that was a lefty by Kendra.
Would not be surprised.
Yeah, that was a lot of patience from Miller. I think Wild was kind of swirling, and the Seattle defense was clogging the lanes where Miller was traditionally looking. And so that meant that it was, I'm assuming, a high stall count there and a look for Davis where they were able to throw it over the Seattle defender. And that is a break, so we are back on serve. So we can take a quick replay at Miller.
Also, make sure to check out our vendor booths showcasing a
Let's
wide
see.
variety of local
Yeah,
brands,
nice lefty
artists,
dish.
and sports teams from all over the
Miller
Salt Lake
famously
area.
hates Goldie, or at least every time she's attempted to play, the kit has been broken.
Okay.
So that I really should say she should sign up for Wild Goldie League. And if you're in the Utah area and you're from home, you should sign up for Wild Goldie League.
Definitely.
You can have throws like that.
And Miller and Davis have a lot of trust with each other. Kendra is Abby's coach in the college scene.
All right, and let's see who stayed out there for Seattle.
There we go.
Looks like
Big floating
Whippler
ball.
is back
Utah
out
Wild
there.
rushing down to put some
Zerski.
pressure on.
So there is
Okay,
some
center to Kirkland.
changeover.
Nice throw, nice dig
Gets the disc and left
by
turn
DeVault.
line.
DeVault back to
High pressure from Wallen, but the
Kirkland.
disc finds
That was some
its way
tight
back
D
to
by
Kirkland.
Wallen.
Inside shot.
Kirkland up to
Finds Jezerski.
Jezerski. Jezerski's looking. Oh, yep, she finds Kirkland. Nice find.
A give and go.
And Seattle was working in a really tight space there. I think that's kind
It was
of
all the same third over
the
there.
boon and the bust of the split stack plays is that it leaves that center wide open, but if they don't feel like they have that break throw or that centering throw, then they're working up really skinny sidelines.
Yeah.
And Sadie Jezerski is one of those players who can
Make that
throw,
work.
throw whatever she wants. And I think she's someone who's really creative in her offensive schemes.
Focus on improving
And we can take a quick look.
using a holistic whole body
Yeah,
approach.
there's it's a
Your
nice
diagnosis is
blady
personalized
outside
plan
in
care.
throw
Right to
to
that space that Kirkland could run onto it.
Wild athletes with physical therapy services throughout our preseason and season.
Okay, on our Wild O-line, we've got Kayak out there. Let's see.
and the score is 2-3 Wild Seattle.
We've got Wallen on the line. Cassie's out there.
Bateman rolling with the ball.
Nope. Oh, sorry.
Big pull from Seattle.
More ironically, but reeled in.
Centered over to Kircher.
Kircher will start the disc.
Kircher swings it back over
By Songer.
to Songer.
Looks like a little coachy.
Songer back to
tag
Kircher.
defense, maybe even a bit of a zone coming up from
Nice
Seattle.
big swing over to
Changes look,
Ledutko.
and right off the
That's
bat,
an
it
unfortunate
is a
drop,
slow
but
shot.
Wild will have to grind here to get that
Just
back.
bounces off the hands of Ledutko there. This will be the Tempest chance for a break.
Kind of a slower
Bert Cherry
pickup of that disc.
Oh, an immediate
Oh,
foot block,
so
but
close.
still finds the target.
Seattle
Bobble
Seattle
and,
over
Utah
to
Wild have the disc in
Decker
their
and an
hands
unfortunate
again.
drop from Decker. Now back to
Ledutko
Wild.
wanted to hop on the fast break,
Ledutko
but
over
good
to
pressure from
Songer.
Mark stops it.
The stack is really deep for the Wild
Really
right now,
deep,
which is
yeah.
why Songer's having issues. And that was a great D by Tremonte.
Oh, nice D from Cruz and Konak.
Rejected on her bid for the end zone by Haruji
All right,
Noah.
Wild has another chance.
Huge D to keep the disc in the Wild possession. And a big hop
Big
now
throw, let's
immediately
go.
catches
Cassie's
both
down
the
there.
offense and defense off their
Williams.
heels.
And she
Smacked
calls
away
a
by
foul.
Cass.
Let's see what
Long
happens with
contact
that.
there.
I think Rolling had a lot of momentum, and I knew Rolling. I'm pretty sure Rolling was aware of Williams there, which is why she was able to attack the disc. In Ultimate, it is, or in the WUL, it is self-refed, and they can choose to go to the observer, or if conversations are happening for roughly 15 seconds or longer, then the observer can step in and make the call. So it looks like there's a foul call, a contest.
And the observers ruled that it was a foul, so Cass Williams gets that disc back. She dumps it over to Norris. Norris looking for a cat. Oh, close. Almost rescued.
LB for the Tempest.
Okay, Wild's back on defense. Seattle's moving it, looking in the center. Through to Tremonte. Tremonte over to
Nice space from
Elmi.
Tremonte, able to reel it
Elmi
in.
upline to
Wong
rolling.
now.
Rolling,
Wong will
shooting
shoot.
deep. Oh, nice. Whoa.
Wow.
Huge
Layout
grab.
good.
Wow.
Alexa Romerska.
That was Alexa Romerso with the
Got
layout
it,
grab,
baby.
and I think Rolling was really ready for that. I
Yeah,
think-
she was. And so was Romerso. She knew it was coming. She went.
Yeah, and I want to also flag Nada Tremonte. She's number 18 for Tempest. She is an East Coast transplant to the West Side. Let's take a look at that replay first.
That
'cause
was a huge
incredible.
grab.
Yeah, Rolling
Yeah.
cuts under.
Immediately turns, shoots deep.
But yeah,
Yeah, huge grab. Wow.
Rolling knew what she wanted.
Yep.
And that's a break for the Tempest. So it is 2-4 Tempest. All right, so the Wild O-line is back out there again. Looks like some minimal changes, but a lot of the same players you see always. Like Kircher's still out there, should probably be back handling with Songer.
Yep.
And then Leducco, who's transferring over from the D-line to the O-line
And
this
she's
game.
out there again.
Big pull coming
Huge
in.
pull
Big
from
advantage.
Seattle. They're
Leducco
chasing down.
catches that.
Songer over to Kircher. Kircher back to Songer.
Seattle's
Songer to.
down in a
Sasaki.
zone right now also.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like they might be collapsing back to a match.
Loading over Kircher's head,
But
able
at least
to
for the
reel it
first
in.
few throws, it looked like they were in a
Nice
like a
snag from
2-4-1.
Norris. Save possession.
And they do like coming out with that zone.
Yeah, definitely threw off the Wild's plan of attack.
Oh,
Wow.
nice save
Yeah,
by
grab from
Songer. Oh, she gets
Still
there.
That's
nice
in.
save.
Line is the inbound line. That's Sarah Stoller.
Nice work from Stoller. Perquette's got it.
Burkett with the disc.
The huge
Works back
fake.
to
So
Kircher.
back over to Kircher.
Kircher now hits
Kircher
the
over
around
to
break.
Norris.
Just too far for Abby
Just
Davis.
out of reach.
Elmi from the Tempest. urging
Yeah, I think that was a great cut by
Caution.
Norris. Just the wrong touch
Yeah.
by Perquette on that.
pace down a bit.
And Seattle is setting up in that split stack. They have 3 handlers back and then 2 cutters who are aligned on each far side of the field.
Elmi's got it in the center. Oh, so close.
Just a
Almost
little
had
too
that.
far to the grass there,
Just a
32
fumble there.
Yeah,
Ball
that
there.
was a big
Wild
throw.
back with the disc.
Okay, Songer's got it. She throws over to Leducco. Leducco finds Perquette,
Looks like a pick
and
call.
there's a pick called on the field.
Perquette running through the sack.
Perquette gives it
Receives
back
the
to
disc.
Leducco.
That one will come back to the hands of
Jesse Crowley with that pick call. Yeah, Wild is still set up in that vert stack. They really
Looks like
favor
Tempest
that,
maybe switching the mark here.
which I also think is why the Seattle Tempest zone
Nice
look is
inside
pretty
soft
effective
line
for those first few
Stanislavski.
throws.
Looks for the around, but can't find
Stanislavski's
it.
got it in the center. She's looking for Songer. Can't make contact up to
Nice
Stoller.
backfield pressure forces it, but upfield.
Stoller over to Kircher.
Stoller finds its mark.
Kircher over to Songer.
Songer shoots for the end zone.
Oh, so close.
With the wind
Leducco
just
was
pushing
there.
barely down. Unfortunately,
But yeah, the
outside
wind
of the
did
ground,
force
but
that throw down a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, Wild is looking all right, but Kircher was open during that Stanislavski possession, and Stanislavski just couldn't see her. So, yeah, I think Wild needs to work on a little bit of patience and discipline
Elmi
there.
to start with the disc. Swings.
Over in the center for Seattle.
Inside shot. lot of
Upline
pace on it, but
to
does find its mark.
Meyer. Now to
High
Elmi.
space there, but able to find Elmi around break.
Elmi over to
Wong
Wong.
now with the disc.
Great fake communication from Wong. She senders it back to Elmi. Elmi with a big upline to
Jazerski now with the
Jazerski.
disc. Looks deep.
Jazerski with another
Shoots for
huge
Whippler,
throw.
but
Whippler
well
can't
outside
quite
her,
get
he's
there.
pushed down.
And Whippler had been
Looks
running
like timeout
deep
called from
pivots
Wild.
for the last few
Making
throws by
noise.
Seattle,
Wild
so
on
I
the
can
timeout
understand
call.
they could be a little gassed.
Yeah.
And there's a Wild timeout. So there's roughly 40 seconds left on the clock, which is important. And yeah, it looks like Wild might be swapping some people out and or talking about what they want to do next. Because no matter what happens, the next quarter they're going to start on offense. So they really want to make sure that they get this possession and then kind of get what is known in Ultimate as like an invisible break, where
Yeah.
they're able to maintain possession and start on O-line and start the quarter off in a little bit more of even footing.
That would be great for
them.
And it looks like they're maintaining, I think, the same group on offense. I don't know if they're going to make any other subs, but yeah, it looks like they're just
catch
catching
their breath. Yeah, get a drink in this hot sun.
Yeah, they're on their own end zone, and they're kind of not trapped in a corner quite yet, but I could see how that could they could get there very quickly.
Yep. The coffin corner, as they call it.
I think that's going to be that far side corner. Though we haven't seen a lot of, we've only seen at least the Wild get trapped there once, and I don't think I've seen Seattle trapped there at all yet. So yeah, Seattle has been developing really well out of transition plays, but sometimes I think their set plays, especially against the Wild D-line, aren't working as aggressively.
Wild walking back to pick up that disc. Setting up an avert stack.
Yeah, I don't think the Wild made any adjustments.
Yeah, it looks like the same squad.
And it looks like Seattle's coming down in a zone, and I believe they made some changes. I noticed Cherry is out there rolling.
Yeah, Whiffler's not there anymore, so they...
Yeah, Cheryl Sue's on the disc right now. Slim is still out there. I think she was out on the last point.
Big swing over to Kircher. Stanislavski's going deep, but coming back to Songer. Yeah, that zone. Over to Kircher. Kircher motioning for what she wants. Back over to Songer. Songer over to Ledutko. Nice find upline to Stoller. Stoller back to Ledutko. Ledutko to Kircher. Oh, big run by Norris.
And it looks like Seattle countered to about 5 and then went over to a match D, but Wild still wasn't able to generate a lot of downfield movement. All right, there is no more time on the clock, so that means that Seattle gets to maintain this possession. It's a big loss for the Wild. Hope they want to generate this turn like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like just Sue wasn't quite ready for that upline, and the disc was a little bit behind her. But it is 2-4 for this quarter. So what adjustments do you think each team needs to make to really get a dominant lead here, Quincy?
Looking at Wild after the turn, after their O-line has a turn, just having that defense grind and intensity to try to get it back again. Seattle's O-line seems to be doing fine. Even when they can't get those centering passes, they're still just working it down the sides and finding success there.
Yeah, I think Seattle's still operating in a semi, 3 lines system, but I think they're a little bit more conscious about who they're putting on what line. All right, and we'll be back right after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Planning your club ultimate season? Come to Ski Town, August 17th and 18th in Salt Lake City. There will be women's, mixed, and open divisions. Email skitownclassic@gmail.com if you're interested. Our bid form is coming out soon. You don't want to miss it.
All right, and we are back. There's about 1 minute left before the second quarter starts. We've seen a lot of turns, I would say, generated by both defensive pressure as well as just sometimes missed throws. There's a little bit of a breeze on the field that's going cross field, so it is a crosswind that's impacting where throws are going. I think we're seeing a lot of scores on the same sides of the field. And yeah, Wild has been running a lot of vert stack while Seattle is back out there in their split stack offense. Defensively, I've only seen Wild run match or person defense so far, while Seattle has been coming down in a zone look that has 3 people in the front that's really throwing off, I would say, the Wild's groove. And they're in that for about 5-6 throws, and then they go over to match defense. So not only do the Wild have to adjust to that zone and kind of at least hold on enough before they can get back into a match defense, but then adjust their defense from there.
Right.
So I think Seattle's game plan is working pretty well, but I mean, we want to make sure that if they want to win this game, then they have to maintain possession on their own. And if Wild wants to maintain it, that means they need to focus better on their catches and throws. I think the Seattle defense has been tough, but sometimes the Wild has just been turning it just to the ground.
Yeah. First quarter jitters.
First game, it's hot out, it's a little windy. We're not at our traditional stadium. We are at Highland High School. We are here for the Beehive Bash.
Yeah.
So the Beehive Bash is a 4-team game or 4-team day where we have 2 rugby teams. We have the Utah Vipers and the Utah Slugs. They played both of their games in the morning. The Slugs were able to take away the W. The Vipers unfortunately lost.
Okay.
And then we have the Wild playing Seattle. And then after this game, we're going to have the Utah Falcons, which is the women's professional football team. I believe they're taking on San Diego. And San Diego's actually their former champs, or the former league champs.
Okay.
So I think they
big
have a
matchup.
tight rivalry.
Yeah.
So if you're in Utah and for some reason not here, still come down to watch the rest of this game and then catch the Falcons play after this. But I've been here all day, and it's been really fun to see all of the different fans and talk to people about what Ultimate is and what the Wild is, as well as what the Beehive Bash itself brings.
Yeah. I think it's been so incredible that they could have this full day of women's sports. And
Yeah, I like to think of it as really a celebration of women in sports.
totally.
And we have a lot of sports that get traditionally a lot less coverage, specifically for women, like
Yeah.
whether it is Ultimate or rugby.
Or
And then
football.
football, yeah. Like,
That's
when have you seen a women's football team? But they also do a live stream, which is really exciting. So I'll try and get info on that. But yeah, it's been a huge day in Salt Lake City. All right, we have the Wild O-line out there and the Seattle D-line. Looks like we have Elmi, I believe we have Sue, Jezierski, Cassie Wong. Yeah, a good group. Some key players that we've seen this whole game.
Big pull by Jezierski. And the Ducko catches it, senders it to Songer.
Another zone look from the Tempest.
She goes back to the Dutko. They have another kind of zone out there with the cup. Centered back over to Songer. Trying to work around that cup back to Kircher. Kircher back to Songer. Trying to find a hole. There's one for Perquette. Perquette up to Kayak. Kayak looking deep. Cass was ready for her, but just a wobbly throw.
Yeah, it was an inside flick hook, and it's a little windy.
It's a hard one. Okay, Elmi's got it in the center for Seattle. Nice up line.
Oh, looks like a travel was called on Decker.
Decker maintains possession, goes back to Jezierski. Jezierski back to Decker with a nice give and go. Decker with a nice shot to Wong. Oh, Wong with a big go.
And I think something I want to flag about Seattle, and I think this is something that's made them incredibly successful in the past, even though they're not necessarily matching up every time, is that they really aren't afraid of the edges of the field. I know in my Ultimate training, there's been a lot of emphasis on like throwing to a different third, but they really aren't afraid of the sidelines.
Yeah.
Which is something I think we can all take away.
Yeah, totally.
Looks like Seattle's back in their zone.
Kircher over to Leducko. Leducko over to Songer. Nice upline to Leducko. She's over to Kircher. Kircher back to Leducko. Nice grab. Still looking for holes in that zone. Big swing just out of Songer's reach.
Yeah, I think Wild having a hard time adjusting to that zone, and even though I think the handlers are working really well together, the downfield's not creating too many opportunities. But in the last possession, when Kayak was able to get it under and do that big throw, that was the most success we've seen in breaking that zone.
Yep. Lim picks it up on the sideline, over to Elmi. Elmi over to Jezierski. And she calls a timeout. Was that her? Can players call timeout?
Players can call timeouts. I think it's a little bit more discouraged in the WUL because there is such a tactical advantage.
Yeah.
And they can swap out people as they will. So it's also maybe a risk where, like, if that line was moving and grooving, but Jezierski decides to call a timeout, but then Wild puts on their D-line, who's really gunning to make that turn,
right,
then that is a risk. But, I mean, yet again, it's risk-reward. They could make it through. They could make an easy score for themselves and make it a 5-2 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Wild is putting on their D-line, and I'm interested to see how Seattle sets up. Especially I would say they're close enough to be in that red zone, and maybe that's something that the Seattle coaches could have told Jezierski beforehand, saying like, "Hey, once you're in that red zone, if you feel stuck, you can call that TO."
Right.
But something that happened, I believe, I want to say in the Bay Area game, I'm so sorry if I'm wrong, is that a player called a timeout after time had expired, and that means that's an automatic turn, so that's also another reason maybe that players are discouraged from calling timeouts, not because they don't know the rules, but they might not know the time.
Yeah. Or just in the heat of the moment, the fluster of the moment, forget.
It looks like they have Rodenberg setting up in an ISO with, I think, Sue picking up the disc.
So they've switched out their line. Both sides have switched out their lines.
Yeah, I think it's a wholesale.
Yep.
And Wild has pulled down some defenders to help Mark Rodenberg.
We have Shelky there on the mark. Seattle back over to Sue. Oh, tight D, great grab over to Whiffler. Whiffler looking, and a foul was called.
Looks like there was a call.
So it looks like it's Finnegan the foul's been called on.
Not 100% certain here.
I'm uncertain what the call would be. Number 22, Kirkland is calling it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's maybe some contact.
Mm-hmm.
I think the flag here is that Seattle will get a pre-stall from this.
Okay.
Which means that they have an opportunity to kind of reset their offense rather than going straight back into the game.
Over to Kirkland. Kirkland up line. To Rodenberg. Rodenberg over to Whiffler. Whiffler looking over for Lanier. Lanier back
Good defensive pressure here from the Wild. Still keeping
to
him out.
Sue.
Now with the disc.
Sue with a
Forced to shoot over
big
the top.
inside. Doesn't quite get there. All right, Wild has another chance here.
I think Sue recognized that the Wild was leaving that side of the field more open, but
Yeah.
unfortunately the throw wasn't quite right. The angle wasn't there.
Shortall picks it up. Big swing.
Judd now.
Over to SJ. There she is, Sarah Judd.
Will float. Little tricky.
Just a little bit
Just out of the reach of
too far out of
Finnegan.
bounds. Finnegan can't quite track that one down. D-line gets another
Finnegan on the
chance.
mark here for the Wild.
Play D.
Making another stand.
Seattle looking for that upline. Great D from Shelky.
Around
And
break, miscommunication. The Wild again.
Wild
This
gets it
time
back.
pass on a fast break chance. Mark gets there from the Tempest.
Finnegan in
though,
the
found that
middle.
field. We'll look back to Wallen.
She's over to Wallen.
Wallen tries to
Ooh,
shoot
just a
inside,
miss throw
but
there.
beaten up by the Tempest there.
Kirkland
Looking
with
to
a
shoot,
big
looking
throw
deep
up to
for
Whiffler. Oh,
Just
nice
outside the
grab.
end zone. Ooh, maybe just outside the end zone line.
No
Will
one.
dump it back.
Oh, nice. There we go, Wild.
I think
Sherwinkle gets it back.
I think Seattle was just a little too excited for that one and didn't necessarily read the defense.
Yeah, they had the numbers right. I think they had
Yeah.
more offensive players than
If I
defensive
see
players.
Sam Rodenberg out
Nice.
there,
Oh.
Big collision there.
Contact there with Shortall, and can't quite tell who the
Wow,
Seattle
that
player
number
is. Looks like she's
already. How about
okay.
that?
Both
Let's give more
parties
round of
are
applause.
okay.
Wow.
looks like that was Lanier.
Yeah,
That was
I think both were just focused on the disc.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, I think Lanier's marked on Thompson.
Back at it.
Is that Wallen? Wallen over to Shortall.
Wallen
Shortall
over
looking
to
up
Shortall.
line.
Pushes the mark far.
She swings
Back
it back
on
over to Wallen.
Downfield looking. Is
Nice
able to be
save
fielded in
there
by 11.
by Thompson.
Thompson.
Thompson up to
finds
Shelky.
Shelky
Nice.
outline. Short
Nice
ball
snag by
really
Shortall.
great
Shortall
from
over to Finnegan.
Now
Let's go
Finnegan.
D.
Finnegan will shoot in the
Finnegan
end
with a
zone.
nice
The around
throw.
break.
Let's see. Oh, good D by Seattle.
Some feet collision.
Couple
looks like-
Wild players collide.
There was a lot of contact there, but I don't think there were any calls,
Yeah,
especially
it
it
doesn't
felt
look
like
like it.
wild on wild violence.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was a great D. I want to say that's Rodenberg.
That was a great D.
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit too much lift, and there were two players there, which I think it's always easy to just shoot it to both.
Rodenberg was streaking deep there for a second, but she's turning back and cutting
Inside
in. They've
back
got it
end.
in the center.
Finds the
Oh,
far sideline, but another
just off of
turnover
her
from the Tempest
fingertips.
O-line, subbed in to make this crucial break.
Looks like Shelky's
This
going to
will
pick
give
it
the
up on
Wild
the
a chance.
sideline.
It'll be Shelky with the disc.
Shelky looking for Shortall.
Will shoot up line.
Oh, nice D
Big
again.
layout block there.
Yeah,
from the
big
Tempest. That's
D.
number 25.
I think that's
By Chung, yeah.
yeah. And I think that was baited a
Denied on
little
the
bit.
Yeah,
outside,
yeah.
all the way
I
through.
mean, normally when I see
Now
Shea
L2
Wallen
will
open, I
get
can
the
get
disc
it,
for
but
Tempest.
yeah, Chung is a great defender.
And she's going deep
Big
and
shot up,
immediately
50-50
shot deep.
ball will float in the air
Wallen's
for
there
Aiden.
too.
Shea
Let's
Wallen
see.
in the
Nice
area.
D by Wallen.
Denied. Goes right back
All right, Wild.
And remember, this is still the first point of the game, so it's been the 7-minute long point, and this is the second. This is the second timeout of the game. There was a timeout called. I'm uncertain of when it was. When I think it was by Seattle back before the Huck to Chung.
So they'll maintain possession.
Yeah,
Seattle
and I
will maintain
believe
possession.
that is all the timeouts that Tempest has for the quarter. But
Okay.
if it's
Is it 2 timeouts per quarter per team?
I want to say it's 2 timeouts per half. Let me consult my book.
We will clarify this rule. So if the timeout occurs before the throw, then goes back to Seattle, who had that possession when the timeout occurred, which is great for them and a bummer for Wild.
2 timeouts per half. So
Per half, okay.
yeah, Seattle is done on timeouts. But
And
yet
Wild
again,
has used 1 or none this half.
they've used one. Cat
used one.
Cat Songer called one.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a 7-minute long point. You really got to make it work.
Yeah.
And yet again, despite the many changeovers, this is a Wild. Wild originally started on offense.
Okay. That's a good reminder.
I have to remind myself.
7 minutes ago.
Yeah, 7 minutes. That was years ago. But it looks like
We've got
Seattle
Miller
has
on
done a
there.
wholesale as well as Wild.
There's a few
Another timeout. The Tempest will put
players that we're on, but yeah, a lot of new faces.
Oh yeah,
out
we have
there.
Shortall and Finnegan still out for the Wild, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I think they changed. And then Seattle's setting up in their split stack.
Finnegan will still be out there for the Wild.
And Wild's
Putting a
got a
flat mark
poachy
on.
D happening to try to combat that. Over to Rawling, big catch. She centers it back.
Rolling, threads it past Finnegan there.
Oh, great D by Finnegan.
Finnegan was really poaching on that.
She was
She was
ready.
looking.
Moulton over to Miller. Miller to Finnegan.
Miller to Finnegan.
Finnegan back to Miller. Miller over to Shortall.
There from Miller around.
Over
break
to
by
Aragon. Aragon to Kate.
Moulton.
Moulton.
Moulton, showing
Moulton,
patience.
big throw. Oh, huge
Huge
layout
there, unable to be reeled in.
by Shelky. That was a huge layout. No, that was D.
Yeah, that was Bozone.
Unfortunately, unable to reel
Huge
it
layout
in.
from
Just a
Bozone,
little
trying to
too
reel
far.
that one in. D-line's going to keep grinding, and Seattle gets another shot. Back in that corner.
Well, just immediately
Big
she-
throw
she-
downfield. I think they're just trying to get themselves some space, maybe. Get it away from
Yeah, I think yet again, if you know and love your team, sometimes you just got to put the shot up, hoping they can get it. And
Yeah.
Wild is trapped on that end line.
Nice cut by Moulton. Moulton over to Finnegan. Ooh, Finnegan over to Aragon. She manages to reel that one in. Looking for Miller.
That was a great D by
Miller to Davis.
Waringa.
Yeah,
Aragon now.
huge grab by Davis.
Will she
Aragon
up
back
line?
to Moulton.
Moulton on the sideline here.
Moulton across
Moulton
to
now
Miller. Miller to Aragon. Oh, nice
Another
save.
save.
Oh, just
Oh.
slips out on contact.
She couldn't get the third save.
Yeah. She's grinding out there.
Players jogging.
Looks like Spalding's picking up for Seattle.
Still in their split stack. She centers
Around.
it to
Marked by Finnegan.
Lim. Lim finds Meyer in the middle. Over to Rawling. Oh, Finnegan with another D. She's cooking. Okay, looks like Miller's picking up. Gets it over to Shortall. Shortall to Davis. Reels that one in with some great D. Ah, great D by Rawling.
While Seattle keeps turning it, they keep turning it, I would say 5-10 yards closer to the end zone that they're
Right,
shooting
they're
for.
slowly inching down
Yet
there.
again, there's 2 minutes almost left in this half, which means
And
it's
this
been
is the same
third
point.
quarter. Yeah, there's same point. Same point, everybody. It is a little breezy, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah. Lim picking up on the sideline. Over to Spalding. Spalding up to Rolling. Rolling back to Lim. Lim back to Rolling. Moving it fast, getting it back in the center. Find Meyer.
Rolling now.
Rolling back up line 2. Lim. Lim to Meyer. Meyer with a nice round back. Oh, so close. Huge layout.
That was Ramirsa with the layout.
Huge layout from Ramirsa. She was close.
I think Seattle is building on that momentum.
Yeah. Miller's going to pick it up. Walk it to the front of the end zone.
It's been an 11-minute point that we've seen 3 different lines. I think everyone who's been rostered has played this point.
This point. Moulton's got it in the middle. Looks like there was some kind of call.
Another timeout. Let's go. Okay.
Okay, both sides have used their timeouts for this half.
So yeah, if anyone hasn't played this point, I think this is their chance.
Now they have to get on.
I would love to. I want to see the stats specifically on this point.
Yeah, no kidding. So many Ds from both sides.
Yeah. I would say D wins games, but right now D is not scoring points. And that's really what we need from both sides. Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, it looks like Wild is just putting out a traditional O-line. I'm interested to see how Seattle decides to choose, because I think last time they kind of selected some of their top players. It looks like I think Jezierski's going to be out on this next point. I think they need someone who's really going to throw it.
Yeah. And that O-line is going to have to now work it all the way down the full length of the field to score.
Yeah, unless Seattle can generate that quick turn.
Have a fun aerial view of the stadium, of the fans.
People absolutely roasting in the sun.
Yeah, the baking.
It's hot, and those bleachers are hot. So we love our fans. We are so excited.
There they are.
And it is also college sectionals in Utah right now, so I know some of our women's teams are still playing, or if not, they're wrapping up soon. But we've been excited to see Spiral Jetty and BYU and Utah State all play in this sectionals.
Yeah.
And we have some teams from Montana and Idaho also here. And we just always want to continuously see our college grow, specifically in the Big Sky section. I think I like to hope a rising tide raises all ships, except for sometimes when I lose to them, I get a little mad. So.
Right. All right. Kircher in the center here. She has to have a huge throw. Stoller's going. Oh, picked off by Jezierski.
Yeah, I don't think Kircher had many options on that.
Oh, nice. Upline to Decker. Nice little inside over to Jezierski. She's got that around to the center. Quickly swung. Back to Jezierski. She's working hard with number 13, Crawley. Crawley, or Jezierski to Decker.
Yeah, neither teams have timeouts now, and there's 40 seconds left.
Oh,
off of Wong's hands.
Just off the fingertips.
39 seconds left on the clock. When the clock hits 0.
Yeah, I hope the Wild has a better plan for their offense than coming out of that half, or coming out of that timeout. Yeah, yet again, this is originally an O point.
So we're back. We've come full circle to our O-line.
Time is a flat circle. We're going to be in this point for the next 5 years. No, it must be incredibly grueling out there.
So grueling. Let's see. Kircher's got it there. Another big shot. Oh, Jezierski's just hanging out.
I think she caught it out of bounds, which is a little confusing, but Seattle maintains possession. There's 30 seconds left on the clock.
Wong's got it there on the sideline. Travel call. Back to Decker in the center there. A couple throws ago.
22 seconds left on the clock.
If Wild can get it back before that time expires, then they'll be able to work it down. Over on the sideline. Oh, unfortunate drop. Wild picks it up. Kircher picks it up. We have a pick call.
I think Leducco and Kircher tried to pick it up at the same time and then picked their defenders off.
Gotcha.
A pick. There's 15 seconds left on the clock. So let's see if someone scores this quarter.
Yeah. Leducco over to Norris. Gets down low to save that one. Norris, nice patience there. Over to Stoller. Stoller up. Oh, just barely.
2 seconds left on the clock on that turn. And so there's no time left on the clock.
Let's see what Sadie can do. Oh, nice D from Kurter. Wow. So no score. No score for this quarter.
I still hope you all enjoyed the incredible ultimate that happened this game. You know, sometimes scoring doesn't mean elite ultimate. That is, I think, the first time that's ever happened. I'm gonna say that with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
So we're done with the half. We have about a 10-minute break, but we will be back. Seattle will be starting on offense, and I hope the teams make adjustments and we get to see some points scored this game.
Yeah.
UtahWildUltimate.org/outreach to request a clinic.
We'd like to shout out 3 of the Utah Wild sponsors: Selfridge Counseling, Optimal Therapeutics, and Handy and Handy Attorneys at Law. Their support of women and non-binary athletes helps make this season possible. For more information on these organizations, visit UtahWildUltimate.org/sponsors. Thank you all for sponsoring the Utah Wild.
Baby bet, ayy, couple racks, ayy, couple Grammys on him, couple blacks, ayy, that's a fact, ayy, throw it back, ayy, and this one is for the champion, ain't lost since I began, yo, funny how you said it was the end, yo, then I went did it again, yo, I told you long ago on the road, I got what they waiting for. Get your soul, just tell him I ain't laying low. You was never really rooting for me anyway. When I'm back up at the top, I wanna hear you say, you don't run from nothing, dawg. Get your soul, just tell him that the break is over. Yeah.
Number 7, Giants and Chargers, Justin Herbert. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute here.
Nope. Looks like that's Western Ultimate League Frisbee. I'd know it anywhere.
It looks like Cody Lippincott, right?
Mm-hmm.
Laying out, well done.
All right, so I'm going to just guess.
We believe that women and non-binary athletes deserve to be seen and our abilities showcased for the world to see.
We believe in perpetuating Ultimate by establishing professional teams and developing future generations of players.
We believe players of all identities and backgrounds deserve an equal opportunity to be recognized and lauded for our achievements in our sport.
We believe in sustainably and responsibly creating equitable and accessible avenues for women and non-binary athletes to join and participate in our sport.
We believe that being transparent,
open,
and responsive to criticism is critical,
and that there should always be space
to fix our mistakes,
grow, and be better.
We are the Western Ultimate League.
In pursuit, but it is caught. Teresa Zettner.
What an incredible!
Oh my goodness, the layout grab from Kristen Pajunas.
I just stood up. I couldn't even sit for that. First of all, the angle of that throw. Second of all, the finish. And watch the inside out. Just look at the angle of this throw. What a great grab.
All right, we're back after that half. We're still here. It's still hot, and it's technically sort of still the same point.
It's still 2-4. It's been 2-4 for the last 12 minutes. We had a mega point where I think all, if not all four, all three timeouts were called. And
all players played. We suspect.
I'm going to
that every player
speculate
yes.
that every player played, and I think during that point, the mega point.
Mega point. May it live in infamy.
Yeah, mega point TM. And I think what happened was, I mean, while there was a lot of defensive intensity. Mackenzie Finnegan, number 6 on Wild, got 2 blocks, but also Sadie Jazerski, number 77 on Seattle, got 2 blocks. And so there was a lot of defensive intensity, but also there was just a lot of missed throws. It's a little bit breezy down there, and I think that's been harder for players to adjust. It's been pushing the disc down a little bit more. And yeah, I don't think either team was playing their best offense. I think their defense was looking better, but yeah, so we have the pull up. Wild is on defense, Seattle is on offense.
And we got it centered. Quickly over to Kirkland in the middle there. She gets it up to Lanier. Lanier over to Sue. Oh, tight grab by Lanier there. Back to Lanier. Over to Kirkland. The split stack is staying split with the 3 handlers in the center. Oh, and a big throw. Let's see if Miller can get there. Oh, lots of bodies. Nice.
That was a great block by number 14, Abby Davis.
Nice block.
I think Kat Chung on Seattle was obviously there to help Rodenberg, but that also meant that they brought their defender. So yeah, we can take another look at that throw. You can see that quick upline momentum was able to let Seattle get that big huck up, but unfortunately they brought both of their defenders with them, and Wild was able to get the D.
Nice D by Davis. All right. Oh, what a snag by Wallen. Wallen over to Davis. Davis reels it in. She's looking over to Selke. Shelke.
We love patience. We love these break chances.
Shelke to Shortall. Oh, the wind picked up right then. I felt it.
Yeah, I think Shelke was just holding the disc for too long.
Seattle's got it over with Rodenberg. Rodenberg over far sideline. Kirkland's got it on the far sideline. Kirkland with a big crossfield throw. Davis picks it off again. She is ready for some defense today. She's Wallen to Shelke. Shelke's gonna chase it down. Oh, what a run.
I mean, I still think that was a good call by the Wild. Shelke had space, and while the throw could have used a little bit more touch, oh, it looks like there might have been a call.
Shelke was looking awful open down there, so.
It looks like an injury was called. I'm uncertain by who.
Or at what point? If the throw will come back? Or
Finnegan's coming on. I don't know who came off. Let's see. I'm trying to play math right now.
Was it Shortall?
Oh, it might have been Shortall. Yeah, I do not see number 5 Shortall on the field. So I hope she's all right. I didn't see what happened there. But Finnegan is on, and it looks like I'm assuming the turn will stay. Yes.
Yep. Shelke's down there on the mark. Seattle picks it up, looking for Kirkland up line. Oh, tight defense, but she gets it. Calls a foul.
Yeah, I think Bozone was on her back a little bit, and while she was Bozone was trying to get that inside D, pushed Kirkland a little bit.
Kirkland maintains possession. She's looking for Sue, but finds. Oh, but Sue gets it in the center.
Shelke with the hand block.
Nice, Shelke. That's Cherwing picks it up. Oh, lots of bodies there.
Yeah, Wallen and Shelke were going to the same space, and it just kind of got middled. And it looks like Wild's having a harder time getting back on their match.
Oh, nice reel in by Rodenberg there. Oh, tight D.
Looks like
there's another D by Finnegan, but
foul called. I think number 32 Meyer thought that they had possession, and so we'll talk it out. Don't know if we can get a replay on that, but looks like they are talking and going to the observers. Looks like we don't have a replay, which is totally fine, and it looks like the observers uphold the foul call.
Yep. Seattle maintains possession. She's looking up for, Davis. No, Wallen.
Wallen with the D. It bounced off of Lanier's hands. Just a little too floaty.
Miller picks up. She's looking. We need some movement. Nice catch by Bozone there under tight. Miller gets it. Big hug deep to Davis. Oh, and she catches it. That was huge. Woo! That's going to knock the air out of you. That was a huge grab by Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a great put by Miller. I think there might have been a little bit too much air under it, which is why Davis had to lay out, but she sure as heck made Davis look cool, so.
And the point drought is over. We have a score.
We have a score, and it was a break. So we have Miller. Rodenberg with that layout D let Miller have all of the time in the world for that backhand huck to Davis.
Nice.
And I think this is the third or fourth game that Davis has played today. I still want to kind of re-emphasize that Davis, I think, is 19, 20, young. I'm going to say young. Davis is young.
Yeah.
And
so she running, what? She had 2 Ds in that point?
2 Ds and that point alone, and the goal.
Yeah.
So, I would say that's Abby Davis's point.
Yep.
With assistance from Kendra Miller.
Yep.
Yeah, so looks like Seattle's out there with the new line. We have Rolling out there, as well as Cassie Wong. I think those are players that have really been making a difference in this game. And the disc just lands out of bounds. From my angle, it could have been in, but I don't have a very good angle.
They called it out. Spalding's going to pick up in center.
Don't want to undermine the officialness of our observers. We have Spalding picking up, and we're in that split stack.
Spalding over to the sideline finds Cherry. Oh!
Insane hand block by Thompson.
No, Thompson?
Yeah, Cherry is a lefty and was ready to go up with that big backhand, but Thompson says no way.
Miller picking up on the sideline. Oh, nice snag by Thompson. She was ready. Over to Kate. Moulton. Moulton over to Cherwink.
Cherwink now. Back to Moulton. Looks for the end.
Moulton's got it on the sideline. Over to Miller. Miller with a big shot.
That's number 8, not quite in.
It's SJ with the disc on the end zone.
Ball rising.
SJ looking. Find Cherwink. Nice. And there we go, Wild.
Cherwink had some really smart cutting there. Wong was on Cherwink, and Cherwink was able to go to the end of the stack, the far end zone, and burrow around Wong to make sure that Wong had no play on that disc.
Cherwink's got moves.
Yeah, she's incredibly fast. And we can take a quick replay on that point. So yeah, you see SJ on the end zone, and while we have an upline cut by Moulton, you can watch Cherwink burrow under Wong and create that outlet as that stall was rising. SJ, Judd came in pretty composed on that disc.
Super composed.
And now it's a tie game. It's 4-4. That's 2 breaks for the Wild. We have, I wouldn't maybe doubled the points of the last, I mean, we've had 2 more points than we did in the second quarter.
Yep.
And we've got ourselves a game.
Whatever they did during halftime, it worked for them.
At least for the Wild. Let's see if Seattle can answer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like a new line again for Seattle. So maybe I'm interested to look at the stats after this game based on playing time, because I do think they've adjusted a little bit. I want to flag that Cheryl Sue is out there and going to be picking up the disc for Seattle.
She centers it over to Lanier. Lanier up to Rodenberg. Rodenberg to Lee. Lee with a big around. Oh, she gets there. Great grab by Lanier. Lanier up to Sue. Sue over to, who was that? I missed it.
Doesn't matter. Rodenberg has it now, and she's shooting
Oh,
deep.
what a throw. Oh.
It looks
and
like
she had it.
that was great maintenance by. Ooh, I can't see the number there, but that was a great play. I think there was a lot of control. I think Churwink could have had a better angle on that play. Not ideal, but yeah, Seattle was able to maintain it. They were able to do a clean hold for once. Or not for once, that sounded mean. But for this quarter.
For this quarter.
And we can take a quick replay there. So yeah, you see Sue on the on the sideline with Rodenberg, who just shoots it with a beautiful flick huck. And while there are 2 Wild defenders pinching in,
wow,
Seattle is able to maintain that.
And that was Lee. I think I saw an 81. Great grab by Lee.
That was yeah. And I know Yesung Lee is new to the team, but I think she's been able to make a mark in a few different ways and a lot of offensive consistency there.
Yeah. Okay, we got our Wild O-line back out there. Big pull from Rolling on the Seattle side.
With a huge loaded pull.
And we're going to get it center to Songer.
Horizontal stack now from the Wild.
Songer over to Norris. Nice reel in by Norris. She's looking for an outlet with that zone. Seattle's got their...
Got her name wrong in the first half.
No, they don't.
I think they just crumbled into a match.
Okay.
But that definitely changes the cutting patterns of the Wild, which is why I think Seattle has seen such success.
Ledutko now in the center. She finds Perquette. Perquette up to Stanislawski. Oh, Brooke.
That was a great fake. Roland thought that went up.
Over to Ledutko. Nice grab by Ledutko.
Ledutko was a soccer goalie, which is why she lays out like that. Stresses me out.
Over to Stoller. Stoller back to Ledutko.
Around back to Ledutko.
Over to Kircher. Big around to Songer. Oh, but it was out of bounds.
Didn't quite throw the line though. That'll give the
yeah, I think Songer's feet could have been in, but they weren't their first point of contact, which is why it's a turn.
Seattle will pick it up. Let's see. Lim picking up on the sideline. We got their split stack set. Center to Elmi. Elmi finds, not Elmi, but centered. Oh, and Stanislawski picks it off in the middle. Ooh! That was a hand block by Rolling, but saved by Songer.
It was a one-handed layout save.
Ledutko up to Songer. Oh, just out of reach. Elmi picks up to Decker. Decker back to Elmi. Elmi over to, I believe, Lim. Up to Meyer. Oh, just out of reach. Over Mersa. Ledutko's going to pick it up for Wild. Stanislawski with the upline for her. Nice snag. Ooh, nice pick off by Elmi. She was heads up there. Elmi up to Decker. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Decker. Decker back to Elmi. Elmi to Lim. Lim to Rolling. Rolling to Meyer. Great D by Norris to stop that.
It was a great grab by Rolling.
Oh, behind the back grab by Lynn.
I think the Seattle cuts are not feeling a lot of pressure from the Wild defense. I think there's been a lot of trailing there, which has allowed Seattle to make the throws that they want. But sometimes it is them beating themselves and just overthrowing their players. It looks like an injury is called. So
does Stoller need to reel that in, or will it go back?
I am uncertain. So let's see what our observers say. But yeah, it looks like Lim is swapping out for Cherry. Yeah, Lim probably hit the ground hard on that.
Contact.
Before the throw went up, I believe it stopped play, so it should return to the Wild player.
It looks like the disc is going back.
Back to Stanislawski.
Wow, it's lucky for the Wild.
Yeah, yeah.
So hope that Tempest player is feeling well. Did hit the ground really hard on that bit.
And Stanislawski has the disc, but only Stoller and Ledutko are in front of her.
Everyone else is kind of way back there, but they're... Oh, Oh, nice hands by
Crowley.
Crowley.
Ooh, Perquette tried to get there, but Ramersa was able to get in.
Decker's got it. Over to Elmi. Elmi over to Decker. Decker with the upline to Rawling. Rolling. Oh, and finds that Ramersa right in the middle there.
Yeah, so I think that was great defensive intensity from Seattle.
Yeah.
This was an 0 point for the Wild, and I think while there were turns by Seattle during that game, I don't think many of them outside of maybe the one by Stanislawski were generated by a lot of defensive pressure. Correct me, I would love to be corrected if I'm wrong, honestly. But Seattle was able to have more offensive, consistency there. So it looks like we might be going to a replay on that point. So we have Elmi swinging it over with a beautiful inside to Rolling, who hits the inside again.
Yeah, finds Ramersa right there in the middle. Nice shot.
Yeah, I think the Wild defense has been spending a lot of time chasing the discs, especially their like offensive defense or offensive line defense.
We need a term for that. We have Dolphins.
Dolphins.
What is offensive defense? Defense.
So yeah, the Wild, we have most of the same players back on that line for O. It looks like Kircher, Stanislawski, Perquette are out, but Wild pulled Miller over, who traditionally plays D-line. I think she really is that first person that Wild pulls over when they want to make that score. But there's about 2 minutes left in the quarter.
Jazerski had the pull, just went out of bounds. Kircher taking it to the center.
2 defenders there waiting for Kircher.
Wild is setting up in a horizontal stack, which is different for them.
Seattle is set up kind of in a zone, but it's a different zone look than before.
Just kind of a sag, it looks like. Oh, uncharacteristic drop from Stanislawski on the sideline. Looks like Elmi's going to pick up for Seattle. Oh, Kayak with a big D. Stanislawski picks up. Oh, no. Kircher picks up and launches it. Cassie in pursuit. Williams in pursuit, but can't quite make it.
Yeah, Hruzhnikova was able to kind of catch Seattle on their heels. I think the last point they maybe had it a little too easy defensively.
Oh, so they pulled. No. She has been defense, but she is this year offense.
Yes. Yeah.
They pulled her over too, but
long term.
She can do it all.
Permanent. So yeah, we have number 18, Tremonte, on the sideline.
Over to Cherry. Oh, Elmi just out of reach of Elmi. Perquette's going to pick up.
Perquette now.
To Kayak. Over on the sideline. Back to Perquette.
Perquette now.
Up to Kircher. Kircher to Miller.
Miller.
Have a few cuts happening. Miller back over to Kircher. To Norris with a wide open cut to Stanislawski. Nice find in the end zone.
Yes, that was I would say a pretty good hold by the Wild, despite they had that turn with Stanislawski dropping it, but they were able to bring more defensive intensity with bringing Hruzhnikova over and
Miller.
And Miller. Oh,
I messed you up.
Hruzhnikova's always over,
yes.
But Miller, I think they were able to kind of increase the tempo there, and then Perquette picked up the disc quickly after the turn. They didn't give Wild a lot of time to set, but I think that created a better flow offense.
Yeah.
So we can take a quick replay of that point. You see how Wild moves the disc all the way across the field from Miller to Kircher to Norris, and Norris is able to get Stanislawski on that open side for an easy flick.
Nice movement for them.
So there's roughly 45 seconds left in this quarter. It is a 1-point game. So if Wild wants to tie this up, they need to break. But I know Seattle is hungry for that hold. I think they're itching to prove themselves and prove themselves as stalwart as they have been in previous seasons.
Who's starting on offense on our next quarter?
Wild.
Wild, okay. So a break here would be huge for Wild.
All breaks are important. We love all breaks, but this one's especially important.
Yes.
Only 40 seconds.
Okay, send it over to Spalding. Spalding to Kirkland.
Kirkland now with it.
Kirkland looking. Finds, I believe, Meyer. Back to Kirkland.
Kirkland
looking for some cuts. Kind of Over to Spalding, to Kirkland, some fast handler movement there.
Swing around the Lanier.
Over to Lanier. Oh, Davis trying back to Kirkland.
8 seconds.
Kirkland up to Rodenberg. Rodenberg launches it. Oh, wow.
2 seconds left on that clock. So that means Wild has another chance on offense, but that was a great hold by Seattle. They kept a really tight tempo. But, I mean, Wild was really hungry for it. We had Moulton getting really close on a centering pass, and I think Judd had a good angle on that play, just couldn't jump up, which totally fair. I think that was a really great angle by the thrower. So, yeah, I mean, it's still a close game. We can take a look at that replay, but
there it is.
Yes, we have that. It's just
Nice
a
throw.
great weighted outside in flick.
Yeah. Good defensive pressure, but a better grab from Whippler.
And I think SJ started that throw a little bit behind. And so trying to get that angle from behind and trying to body, especially when the person's already behind you, takes a lot of practice. So 2 seconds. I am assuming that that this will be the last possession of the point. I never want to curse it with Wild, though, because sometimes they do have those turns in the last milliseconds.
Got a Wild O-line out there. Leduco catching the pole and centering. She's been doing awesome at that.
The clock has run out.
Yep, we just heard the horn.
The third quarter will end.
And Seattle is zony. In the first 2 quarters, they were out in a and that is the turn. So Seattle was out there in, I believe, a 2-3-2 zone. In previous quarters, it looked more like a 3-3-1 or like even like a. Yeah, I'm going to say a 3-3-1. And I think they're trying to throw different looks to help keep the Wild on their toes and not get too comfortable.
Yep.
All right, so it is the end of the third quarter. We're going to be back after this break.
We'd like to shout out 3 of the Utah Wild sponsors: Selfridge Counseling, Optimal Therapeutics, and Handy Attorneys at Law. Their support of women and non-binary athletes helps make this season possible. For more information on these organizations, visit utahwildultimate.org/sponsors. Thank you all for sponsoring the Utah Wild. We'd like to say a huge thank you to one of Utah Wild's sponsors. Burt Lund and Physical is an official partner of the Utah Wild. Physical therapy and balance centers focus on improving your quality of life by using a holistic whole-body approach to connect your diagnosis with a customized plan of care. Thanks to Burt and Physical for providing Utah Wild athletes with physical therapy services throughout our preseason and season. We are thrilled to announce the official brewery of the Utah Wild for 2024, Bewilder Brewing. You can find us celebrating every Utah Wild game this year at this local brew pub. Their huge projector screen, great food menu, and award-winning beer make this a great home for our watch parties and after parties. Be wilder and head on over to Bewilder Brewing right after this game for the Wild's official after party. This venue is 21+.
All right, we're back for the fourth and final quarter of this game. We have Utah with 5, Seattle with 7, so it is a tight, close game.
Yeah, and I think it's been relatively low scoring compared to some other games that we've seen both of these teams play, especially against each other. Normally we're in the 10s by this point.
Yeah.
We didn't have any scores during the second quarter, but Seattle has been able to break twice. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Wild is on offense.
Leducko catching that pull, centering to Songer. Songer over to Kircher. Kircher back to Leducko.
Zone play again from the Tempest.
She finds Songer on the sideline. Leducko doing a great chisel there. Leducko launches. She's got Norris. Oh, just floats out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean,
Rolling was right there.
I think it came out pretty close to the 50-yard line, so that means Tempest gets to walk it up most of the field. That was a good look by Leducco. Just needed a little bit more edge on it, but this wind has been kind of swirly, so I can understand trying to flatten it out a bit more.
This will go where it was last inbound. Looks like it was right out of Leducco's hands. Cherry still to pick up the Tempest. Will be marked by Stanislav.
Cherry's picking up on the far sideline. Wild's defense doing good. She gets it off. It's over to Jezierski. Jezierski to Rolling. Rolling launches it. Ooh, and Jezierski can't quite track that down. Yeah, maybe the wind is doing more than I thought. I didn't feel like
if anything weird happens, we're going to blame the wind.
Kircher is motioning for her players to come back in. She's going to pick it up on the sideline. She clears it over to Leducco. Leducco with a nice find to Stanislavski. Up to Perquette. They're getting through that zone a little. Over to Stoller. Stoller to Leducco. She's looking nice. Finds Stoller. The great body out. Back to Leducco. To Songer. Songer pivoting.
I think that was a high stall.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Steph Lynn was playing great shutdown D on Leducco, which meant that Songer couldn't get that dump that she was looking for.
No outlet. Seattle's picking up. Over to Meyer. Up to Rolling.
Reset from the Tempest.
Rolling again. Nope. Who is that?
That's Wong.
High throw, but reeled in there.
Over to Decker. Decker to Jezierski. Jezierski with a nice shot. Floaty shot. Oh, lots of bodies. Lots of bodies. Doesn't look like there's going to be a call.
No call.
Yeah.
I think sometimes bodies be bodies. And if we're all fighting for the same space, sometimes that means you get jostled around.
Yep. Songer to Norris. Norris to Kircher. Kircher to Perquette. To Leducco. Wild moving it fast. Trying to get it down there. Wow, Stoller. Stoller to Leducco. Over to Kircher. Kircher to Leducco. Leducco right back to Kircher. Kircher to Leducco. Over to Norris. Wow, some great movement by the Wild. Norris finds Perquette. To Stanislavski.
Been a long point.
Over to Perquette. To Kircher. Kircher to Leducco. They're right there on the doorstep. Let's see. Leducco to Songer. Wow.
Wow.
Nice snag.
I think it took Wild a minute to find their groove, but that once they were able to start generating that movement, it felt very flow state. Seattle was trying to take away looks, but Wild was able to find more of them. And I really want to compliment Leducco there. She has played the last 2 games on D-line, and I know she's played a bit with the O-line in practice, but her and Kircher really went every other on that, which was incredible. And I think you can tell, I think we can take a look at that replay just to see how well. I think everyone on the Wild, for the most part, touched that disc in that flow state. So you see Leducco looking around, can't get that upline, and hits just a cheeky, I would say kind of inside, high up, backhand to Stanislavski.
All right, we got our Wild D-line back out.
1-point game, 8 minutes left, 8.5. Yeah, and it looks out there for Seattle. We have Whipler is out,
Kirkland.
Sue, Kirkland, Rodenberg. Rodenberg's one you don't want to forget about.
Kirkland's got it.
Finnegan on the mark.
She's looking for an upline to Lanier. Lanier back to Kirkland. Big throw over to this far sideline. Really. Oh, to Rodenberg. Oh, Rodenberg. Just a miscommunication there, a miscue.
I think she just threw it a little bit behind Sue.
Over to Miller. Miller to Finnegan.
Finnegan finds Bozone.
Finnegan to Bozone. Bozone back to Finnegan. To Miller. Oh, good D by Whipler.
Good defensive pressure there from Whipler. Denies
Seattle's
ball
got
again.
it back to
Quick run
Kirkland
on
in the
Kirkland.
center.
Stuber
Over to
the top.
Rodenberg.
No continuation
Whipler's
there.
right
Something
there.
to
Oh,
decide.
just
Whipler
also
now.
on the doorstep there. Whipler to Kirkland. Little bounce to
Give and go there. Kirkland
Rodenberg.
looks at the end zone,
Back to
but it's
Kirkland.
denied.
And back to, oh.
Wallen makes the bid, but
Yeah,
not
there we go, Rodenberg.
close enough.
Rodenberg and Kirkland, they worked to that point.
Yeah, and Miller on Wild was originally on Rodenberg for that point and ended up switching during during the turn, the Wallen turn. And I think that meant that Sam Rodenberg had a little bit more freedom and space while Wallen was chasing a little bit more on that, which is how we're able to see those kind of dinks in together. So yeah, we can take another look at that. I think Seattle was working really well swinging the field. So they were stuck on one end zone and swung it around enough to make that easy score.
Yeah, from one sideline to the other.
Yeah, and kudos to Rodenberg on that. She
good snap.
knew what she wanted and worked really well communicating that with the other players.
We would like to give a quick shout out to 3 of Utah Wild sponsors: Selfridge Counseling, Optimal Therapeutics, and Handy in Handy.
All right.
Attorneys at Law.
2-point game now with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, so Wild really needs this hold and then a break, and they need to kind of make it quick.
Yeah.
Thank you all for sponsoring the Utah Wild.
All right, that was Wong with the pull.
Kircher's going to pick it up. Looks like we've got a zone from Seattle. Kircher's got it in the middle. Back to Songer. Over to Ledutko. Stanislavski calling for it, but I don't think Ledutko saw her. To Kayak.
Looks like
Kayak to Stanislavski.
Seattle has crumbled into person.
Over to Songer. Up to Cassie.
Who just stepped out.
Just out of bounds, though.
Yeah, I think Wild had good momentum on that, but just Williams took a few steps too far. So let's see how Tempest capitalizes on this.
Lim is going to pick it up on that far sideline. They've got their split stack. Finds Decker. Decker to Meyer. Back to Decker. Not Meyer. Tremonte.
Looks for the end zone, but stopped by the mark.
Finds Tremonte again.
Lim now.
Over to Lim. Oh, good pressure from the mark.
Yeah, that was good work by Kircher.
Kircher picks up. She launches. Finds Stanislavski. Ledutko is there. She's the only one. Gotta wait for some helpers to catch up. Has Perquette.
Oh, foul called. I believe between Stanislavski and Tremonte. I think they just got their feet stangled. I think they're just uncertain on where to proceed.
Right, if it would go back to Ledutko or if Perquette will keep it.
Shout out to our observers. It's hard work. We love them.
Perquette keeps it. Looks for Kircher. Kircher back to Perquette.
Oh, pick called.
Pick called.
Yeah, it looks like Songer was trying to go under. Williams was trying to clear into the stack.
Perquette's still got the disc in the center there.
We got that pre-stall.
Over to Cassie. Oh, and she saves it. But there is some call.
There may have been a violation call, not 100%.
Oh, maybe a violation during that 4-second pre-stall.
Oh, if Perquette faked it.
Yeah, Perquette started moving before that stall, so the person with the disc needs to hold still. They can't fake, they can yell, they can direct with their voice, but they can't direct with their body on this. And they especially can't throw the disc before that 4-second pre-stall. Okay, it looks like the disc is going to stay with Williams. She worked so hard for it.
Yeah. Williams looking over to Kircher. Kircher picks off Stanislavski, but then goes back to her. Stanislavski to Perquette. That's a wild score to bring it to 7-8.
And Wong on Kircher was a really strong mark. You can see that Kircher really wanted to hit that around Stanislavski immediately, and Wong knew that. So if Kircher had thrown that, that would have ended up with a foot block. So it's a 1-point game. We're back to it. And so we'll see if the Wild is able to get that extra break to put us at a tie game. And we can take a look at that replay really quickly. So yeah, you see Williams swing it around to Kircher. And then Stanislavski from the front of the stack continues with her cut and just leads Perquette onto it.
Perfect throw.
For the goal. I don't think there have been any timeouts called this quarter, so this half.
Yeah.
So
quite different
each
from
team
the first.
has two. Each team has 2 timeouts left that they can use to swap the lines.
See if they use them in their last 4 minutes.
Yeah. Use them or lose them.
Big pull from Aragon. Looks like Spalding is gonna pick up.
Great pull from the Tempest gives Wild a chance to fully set their defense.
And Tempest is kind of in a split stack, except for their stack is still, it's centered on the far side of the field. Now they're scooching back out to create that width, sideline to sideline.
The handlers have been working it. Back to Kirkland. Kirkland with a big throw.
Big throw, it might float. 4 players under it.
Lots of players. Nice defense.
I mean, normally when Sam Rodenberg's streaking deep, like, yeah, put it. But I think that just had too much float on it, as well as there were 2 other Wild defenders there, as well as another Tempest player, and Wallen was able to have a better line on it.
Great D from Wallen. Aragon's picking up and running it back to the line. It got knocked quite a ways back there. Aragon on the sideline in the center. She's looking. Over to Miller. Finds Kate. Moulton.
Call on the field. Oh, timeout called.
Ah, here we go.
Timeout called on the field from the Utah Wild.
Uncertain when they called it, what possession.
If it was Miller, or it looks like it.
If it was Miller or if it was the possession before.
Yeah. Oh, even before Miller.
Oh, it looks like he was with Miller. So
nice. Okay.
Nice.
So
I think that was a smart call. Yet again, we have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in this game. And yeah, you might as well. I think the O-line has still been playing well, and especially if you call Miller over to help defensively or make a few adjustments there, allowing the Wild O-line to feel confident in their looks, as well as like make sure that we seal out the game. And yeah, I can't tell who on Seattle is going to start. They have the whole team in. They have that whole team buy-in. But I will try and call it out once we see it. Looks like rolling is going on, who's been just really good this game.
Yeah.
She's always really good, but she stays good.
She's been awesome.
Yeah.
Rolling, looks like Tremonte.
Ramersa.
Oh, Ramersa, that's what I meant.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tremonte was also out there, 'cause also good. Looks like 25. Chung. Yeah, I think some of the people we've seen on more of those traditionally defensive points. Yet again, go to the WUL stats page to see the Seattle playing time and see how it adjusts. They normally update it, I'm going to say Tuesdays.
It's an awesome stat page. I was just checking it out, and they have got so much information on there, so many stats.
We
covered.
love our
It's
stats
amazing.
team. They are fantastic.
It's like Elmi is going to be out there.
Cherry is out there.
And Wild brought over their O-line, and like you called it, Miller has been moved over.
And it looks like Seattle's in person, but they have the far side handler D. I think Cherry's going to pull farther out into that lane.
Kircher is picked up. Looking for Miller.
Oh, some sort of
violation.
I don't think there's a pre-stall on timeouts, but
Confusion.
I'm not down there.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what happens now.
So if a violation is called when there was no violation, does it reset the stall count? Do you know?
I think it's similar to USAU where it will just drop, but I am speculating. So I can say a lot of things with a lot of confidence on this mic, but I do appreciate fact checks. But we have Kircher with the disc.
Finds Kayak in the center. To Norris.
Stall called. That was quick.
That was quick. Stall call has been contested. They've gone to the observers.
Looks like it stays with Norris, so stall called overturned. Yeah, 7 seconds is not a long time when someone else is counting it for you. It's normally also not accurate.
Norris over to Songer. Songer back to Kayak. Back to Songer.
Oh, it looks like there's a pick called downfield.
Looks like there was a call downfield again as well.
Yeah, it looks like Wild is a little jumbled. I think they're uncertain if they're in an H stack or if they're in a vert stack. I think they're kind of in that squishy transition period, which is where a lot of stuff happens. Wow, close there.
Miller. Back to Williams.
Ooh, just a little too far for Kircher. There's 1:48 left in the quarter. And this would be a break for the Utah Wild, though Seattle has it on offense right now.
Elmy with a big throw to Rolling. Rolling back, looking for Ramersa, but swings over to Decker. Decker over to Elmy. Elmy to Cherry. Cherry back to Decker. Decker to Rolling. Over to Elmy. Back to Decker. Decker's really working hard on this one. To Rolling. And to Decker.
All right. So that was a hold for Tempest. It is 7-9, so it is still a 2-point game, and there's 1:16 left on the clock. Yeah, I think for Wild to succeed in this game, they need to have more fire in their offensive line defense.
Yeah.
Seattle has incredible throws, and they're willing to hit basically any angle given to them. And so having Wild, especially more intense on the downfield defense, I think could create a lot of opportunities for them to get those turnovers. Instead, right now, they're not dictating where Seattle goes. They're chasing where Seattle is going.
Right. Yep, got to turn up the intensity for these last couple points.
But it looks like they pulled Sarah Judd over for offense, which I think is interesting. Yet again, she has some playing experience and is someone who can really go anywhere on the field. And it looks like Seattle is out with a whole new line. Still a good line. It looks like Steph Lim is there. Kirkland, Wong with the pull.
Whippler is out there. Like Kircher is going to walk to pick it up, and Seattle is set up already in a zone, at least a zone in the front with that cup. Stanislavski over to Songer. Songer with a big hammer. Oh, nice defense by Meyer there.
Looks like a stall was called. Songer was holding on to that disc for a long time.
Was a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stanislavski was standing in the far corner. I just don't think Songer could see her, which is why she went for the hammer to Judd.
Right.
Maybe some confusion.
All right, there's 30 seconds left on the clock. So they're still talking about that stall. I think it would make some difference because there's about 10-ish yards of difference on where the disc is.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's still a turn for the Wild. That's something they still have to get back.
Some discussion between the players here. From the observer,
Looks like it will stay
over Tempest did.
back at SJ where the turn occurred. Let's see, who is that picking up? Lim picking up for Seattle. Over to Wong.
Looks to shoot, but doesn't. Good
Wong with a
solid
big
force
throw.
off
Kircher's
cross
there.
Kircher.
Kirkland's there.
Hits.
Oh,
it
nice
is
read by
Kirkland,
Kirkland.
reels it in.
Yeah, I think that went right over Kircher's head.
Yeah.
10-7 for the Tempest.
And yeah, Kircher spent a lot of time spinning around trying to get under the disc while Kirkland was able to kind of angle herself better.
She saw it, knew where to position.
So we can take a quick replay on that score. You can kind of see that nice OI flick hook, yeah. Right over Kircher's head. I think that's been
Nice
a real strength of Seattle this game. They've been able to do it in both end zones too.
Yeah.
Which is something to be commended.
That was
And
a great find.
yeah, it looks like Wild is still going out there with that same O-line. Well, not same, but same people who have consistently been playing O-line. They have Ledeco out there, but still Stanislawski, Kircher, and then let's see, we have Williams, Sarah Judd is still on, and Hruzhnikova and Perquet. I think I got everybody.
Yep.
And then we have a similar D-line to not this last position, but the one before, where we have Rolling, Cherry, Elmi, and Rodenberg is over, which I think, yet again, is someone to always watch.
Ledeco to Kircher. Back to Ledeco.
And it looks like Seattle's in a person D.
To Stanislawski, to Kircher, to Perquet.
Just a
Perquet
little bit
with an
behind
unfortunate
Perquet.
drop. Elmi picks up for Seattle, over to Decker. Oh, reeling up for a big one, but goes back to Decker, finds Elmi.
Yeah, there were about 4 handlers back for Seattle
Yeah.
on that.
Still kind of 4 handlers back.
Elmi finds Lanier.
Back to Lanier,
Now Rodenberg.
over to Rodenberg.
Cooper for Lanier.
There's a
to
scuba.
Lanier. Then up to Elmi. Oh, just pops off her hands.
And that is the end of
Oh,
the game.
and that is
That's
game.
the game. Oh, what a
That's the game.
what an interesting ending.
What an interesting game.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so I think this game kind of proves how important offensive line defense is.
Yeah.
We have incredibly high players out there right now, but first of all, we need to focus on those catches and throws, but also be ready to play defense at any time. Like I know, trust your teammates, make sure you score, but on both sides, there could have been more defensive intensity, and I think at the end of the day, that isn't what brought Seattle the win.
Right.
They only won by 3 points. It was an incredibly low-scoring game. Cannot emphasize that enough. But yeah, I think it's been an interesting game, and they get to play each other again. So they are going to be playing in Seattle in May.
That will be great for them both, I'm sure, to have that rematch and
Yes.
have another shot.
Yeah, I think both teams want to prove themselves a little bit more.
Yeah.
And really show what they can do, because this game was interesting, but we still had some really huge plays. Yet again, we had a lot of Ds in this game, so and a lot of really cool layouts. So we can take a look at our Discraft play of the game. Discraft is an official sponsor of the Western Ultimate League, and we are thrilled to have their support. So let's take a look. So this is from the first half. This is from the first quarter. So rolling with the layout. That was Ramersa, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that was Alexa Ramersa with a huge layout grab. And I think that just showcases the intensity that Seattle is bringing, and also Rolling being a playmaker.
Totally. Rolling had a great game.
Yeah.
Wild coming over to say thank you to their fans who hopefully haven't been cooked alive on these metal bleachers.
Absolutely toasted. Yeah, I really want to shout out the Wild supporters. It's been a long day for everybody here, but we want to really showcase and emphasize how important women's sports are. After this game, we have a football game hosted, and that's going to be live streamed through the Women's Football League. They have their own live streaming account, but we really encourage you to support, as well as support your local teams. Support your local WL teams or donate to the ones that you support. It's really important that we continue promoting women's sports. It's really, sometimes it's difficult to see the success of other men's sports when women are out there working as hard, playing as well, and doing cool things.
Totally.
So that's I would say that's my soapbox of the day.
Love it. Love it. We're watching. I can see off in the distance the Falcons players are warming up. They're all geared up. It looks awesome. And we've got some cheerleaders down here for them. It's going to be a fun game if you can stick around.
Yeah, so yeah, we can see the Wild huddling up, and it looks like we have Jesse down on the field for our post-game interview. Jesse, take it away. Oh, it's Jess. All right, we're back. All right, thank you all so much for listening in and tuning in to this game, Seattle versus Utah. We really appreciate everyone watching, and we're excited to see you in our next game. We're going to be, the Utah Wild will be playing Colorado on the 20th. Thanks so much for your support. My name is Leah Smith.
And I'm Quincy McKean.
Thanks so much. This has been the Western Ultimate League.